Hey guys, and welcome to this episode of the Off-Grid Traveler. Today we're going to be joined by Dane Muller, an amazing life coach and full-time van lifer, who with his family decided to hit the road 12 months ago with no end in sight. And we're going to be talking about how they built and coach a 7-figure business on the move, and how a family loss accelerated their potential years of planning to buying the van the very next week. And also ways you can stay off-grid indefinitely as long as you have a source of water and maybe a bit of gas. And as always, we'd like to thank the sponsor of today's podcast, Dry Flush Toilets. If you haven't seen these amazing off-grid toilets, you really need to check them out. They're the cleanest, easiest, smell-free toilet that you've ever seen, and they've recently won the best new camping technology in Australia. No more dumping chemicals or maintaining a composting toilet. Go to www.dryflush.com.au to see how they work. Let's get traveling.
Welcome to the Off-Grid Traveler podcast, where we meet the people who go off-grid and into a life of adventure, challenge, and grand new horizons. Whether on land or on sea, you'll meet some fascinating characters who've chosen the road less traveled and discover their best tips, worst moments, favorite destinations, and a whole lot more.
Okay, welcome guys to the Off-Grid Traveler. I have Dane Muller, and also I believe Nadine is in the background working hard in an entrepreneurship mindset as always. And I just wanted to say beforehand, you guys, seriously, I was checking out all of your socials. You're legitimately a power couple who is going from strength to strength, and you're doing this whilst driving around in your home.
Yes, mate. Well, thank you for that. That's a lovely welcome. Mate, thanks for having us on. And yeah, we do it all from the road. So we wanted to create a life of doing what we wanted, and this is how we're doing it. So yeah,
mate, it's amazing because I'm just looking at the background as well, and you've made it look like a home as well. Like, instead of just going, oh, we do camping here and we live here, you've completely switched it up. You're living permanently on the road. You're adventuring from place to place. And so, two questions. First one is, well, why did you do it? And then the second one after that is, how long did it take you to make it look like somewhere that you can live continuously?
Okay, so we were I guess we were stuck, my wife and I, in a spot of, we're going through a lot of things personally, singular, and then as a married couple and as a family, we had lots of external things with our fathers being really unwell, and we're in jobs that we weren't liking,
right?
Careers that we weren't. I was in the construction industry for a long time as a builder. My wife was a nurse in the Air Force for a very long time.
Wow.
It just wasn't our passion. So there was a few ideas thrown up by my wife to begin with, and it was me that needed the convincing to actually get on the road. So, right. And then it was something that my parents wanted to do after they retired, was get on the road and travel. And my dad retired and then was diagnosed with cancer about a month into their trip. So no, that's fine. It's fine. And it was one thing that Dan's like, what? My wife was like, what happens if we do this when we're retired and then you end up getting sick, or I get sick like your dad and we can't do it? I'm like, you know what? You're right. And then I think within a week we'd had the deposit on the van and it was all ordered and ready to go. So
wow, 7 days later and you've jumped into the deep end.
It was a quick yeah. Once we're in, we're all in.
Wow,
that's what we're like. So yeah.
It's just so, like, seeing what could potentially happen is, like you saying that Nadine initially was kind of pushing the mindset of, hey, what about if we start traveling? And then it was unfortunately a big impactful change in your life, which then moved you to go, you know what, we have to do this tomorrow instead of doing it in 5 years or 10 years or 15 years. And then it keeps getting pushed further and further, right?
Yep, yeah, definitely. And I think for a lot of people too, it generally takes something big in our lives to create change. And we were literally ended. There's no other nice way to put it. We were actually just staying here, doing things for our loved ones, and just waiting for people to pass on. That was literally it. So we really wanted to live our lives, show our boys this beautiful country, and go from there. So
nah, mate,
that was it.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Like what a way to start that. And then moving on to the other question I asked is just how then do you turn this thing that you're living in, which is a tiny home in certain aspects, into a livable, beautiful home? Because it looks like somewhere that I would just chill out and probably sleep about 24 hours a day. So yeah.
It really is, mate. It honestly, it didn't. During the process of changing from the house to the van, we had the van parked at our house. So we literally, I think there was about 6 to 8 weeks where we were moving things in and out, moving it around, doing a couple of short trips here and there just to get the feel of the van. And I mean, there's always little things like when you live in a normal house, you're always doing little bits of redecorating here and finalizing touches and things like that. So that's an always thing. It really didn't take us long to get. It felt like a home straight away.
Oh, okay.
It was actually, we got asked the question a fair bit, especially over our the Wanderers page. How long did it take for you to settle in? And we got asked that a bit, and we both looked at each other and we were just like, it didn't. There was no settling in period. It just felt so
clarity.
natural. So it was the exactly right thing at the exactly right time for us. So yeah.
And you're still on this journey at the same time. So
Certainly are. We've been in the van.
It's not changing.
No time soon. No, we've been in the van and living in it since around for a bit over 12 months.
Wow.
Yeah. So and we've got lots more traveling to do yet. So
yeah. So just to kind of give a reference point, then in those 12 months, where have been the key points that you've traveled so far?
So we've taken our time. We're in no rush because we have no end date.
Yeah.
And we've basically just done the east coast of Australia so far. So
wow.
We started on the Gold Coast, which is close to the centre of the east coast of Queensland, probably a little south of the centre. We went all the way up the top, and then we've turned around, come all the way back down to the bottom, and now we're back on the Gold Coast. We've been spending some time here the last little bit over Christmas and just some time with the family and stuff like that.
Reconning for the Christmas time, and off back on the next adventure, which then is a question of like, what has been the biggest highlight so far during that journey? Has there been a point when you've gone like, oh, this is it, you know?
That's a tough question because there's so many. So that's
a
so
good
hard
answer.
to pinpoint. Yeah, there's so difficult to pinpoint just one because there's so many. The things that really stand out are the boys. We've got 2 young boys that are traveling with us, and just seeing their faces, seeing them experience everything that we experience. And then one of my favorite things is just the other families that we've met on the road.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, it's so nice to you meet so many beautiful young families like ours, and they're all doing this for the same reason, just to create change for themselves, see the country, give their kids an experience that they'll never forget, and just the friendships that the kids make is pretty special.
Yeah, I was talking to a couple beforehand who'd been bouncing around on a catamaran, and they mentioned something which was really cool. They said that the difference between kids that are continuously at home versus kids that are on the road, the conversations you can have with them is just bar none. Like their experiences are different, their mindsets are different. You know, I'm guessing obviously you teach them at home, but at the same time they're learning things that you wish you'd be able to have learned. Maybe
seeing more of the country than I ever saw by the time I was 7 years old. So yeah, my eldest is 7 years old. We homeschool him. My youngest is 3.5. So he's just he just wants to get out and play all the time. So there's no schooling for him. And though he sits in on the lessons, and what he sees and learns from those lessons is helping him immensely. So
wow. Well,
Yep.
so he's at the point where his brain is literally a sponge, and so
Yes.
if he's learning
Soaking
it
it all
free,
in.
he's
Yep.
6 years old. He's going to know, probably for whatever reason, he'll probably end up knowing 2 more languages. For I don't know why.
Who knows? Who
Just
knows?
why
Yeah.
not, right?
Yeah.
But
And then
being
and with Matt, and like you touched on, just his social skills through the roof, and we get that from a lot of, especially with, well, now we're back on the Gold Coast, and you catch up with other friends and stuff, and they mention how good how great his language is, and
wow.
just it's like having a conversation with an adult almost.
So that's an interesting point to put. And obviously, just as a reference, you guys have your own coaching business, which you do
Yes.
whilst on the road, which is
Yep.
another question most people go like, how do people fund this and all that? And but how did you begin to fund this business, or not business, but this lifestyle? And how are you continuing it? Obviously with the coaching, but how is that going in general?
The coaching is fantastic, mate. It's a business that has taken a great lot of work from both my wife and myself. In particular, my wife, she was the driving force to begin with. She's an amazing, amazing person, and just one of those 1%ers that anything she does just is 150%, and everything just is perfect. So we created this company because we both had a passion for helping in some way, shape, or form, helping others. Where my wife was a nurse, I was in building, and then I went into investigations in child protection for a few years.
Wow.
And then that was a really fulfilling point of my life, because I felt like I was making a difference. And we both just wanted to create an impact for a lot of other people. So with both, me in particular, I've in the past dealt with some depression, some post-traumatic stress, all of those fun things, all those labels that doctors and people like to give you. And I started doing some self-development work, followed in the footsteps of my wife. And the self-development work changed my life, changed our lives. Right. And the impact that it had on me, I just could not keep it to myself. I had to share it. And that's where our passions come from, is just giving what we've learned and what we've created to other people to in turn help themselves and create a better life for themselves. So yeah.
So that then comes down to the fact that when in a day, how many times would you do coaching, or how does your day go whilst you're on the road? Because obviously there's points when you're traveling, then you stop, and you said you stay in locations potentially a few days up to a couple weeks.
We usually, most of the time, a minimum amount of time would be 4 nights. So 4 nights, 5 days.
Wow.
It just, for us, yeah, we're not time restricted. So we have created this company to give us the freedom to do what we want when we want. And we structure in our coaching calls, group calls, we have retreats that we run on the Gold Coast. So we just fly back and stay with the family and stuff like that. So everything's structured around the day. We have a shared calendar that's every hours sort of down to what we're doing. So, and yes, there's room for movement in there when needed. So it's just keeping on top of the schedule, making sure that we're both aware of what each other's got on. And we see a lot of it's group coaching as well. So we have a lot of clients and they're in group coaching containers. So we might have 20 clients in the one container. So you're only doing in one session for 20 people. And then with one-on-one clients, we've generally only got 3 one-on-one clients at any time. And that's not because we don't want to help more people. That's just you're holding a lot of energy for a lot of people.
Time effective as well, right? In that emotional state.
Yes. And you want to give your 200% to anyone that you're giving your time to. So we found that having just spacing out our clients, our one-on-ones and groups, just gives us an opportunity to give ourselves to them in a better way. And we have what have we got? 10 other coaches that work under our company. and they're all in helping as well. So yeah.
And are they doing the travel thing as well, or are they in one like?
They're not. No, they all work remotely. Some are on the Gold Coast here. We've got others in New South Wales. We've actually got 3 that live in the Philippines and work from the Philippines for us.
Brilliant.
And they're phenomenal. And yeah, always looking for different opportunities to expand as a company, to just create different avenues to create impact.
Well, the main key point there was that they're working remote, and that's the thing, is that if they wanted to jump on the road, if they wanted to be on a boat, if they wanted to be in the middle of the jungle bar having some Wi-Fi, they are actually able to do that. And that's the beauty of the world that we live in, that, you know, you are, you know, like there's some positions that you need to be in a location. Totally understand it, but you know, there's so much world to see, and that's something that's been part of my life for the last 10 years or so now, is that if I always like going into a new cityscape or new countryside, and it just gives you that energy inside to go, wow, this is why we travel, right? And to continuously do that whilst you're in your van, and at the same time coaching people, you're constantly keeping your energies topped up. Would you say that, and not to say that you wouldn't be as inspirational if you were in one location, but do you think it's kind of like putting the butane up to 11 to keep the inspiration going?
Yeah, definitely it helps when you walk out of the door and you're staring at beautiful blue ocean or something like that, or you're in the rainforest. It's definitely inspiring.
Yeah,
that's for sure. And though, mate, we've all got unlimited amounts of energy. We just need to figure out ways how to tap into it. So, and doing what we've done and the work we've done on ourselves, and that we continue to do on ourselves, we're just able to have that, just tap into energy whenever we need.
Yeah, I've actually got a sign up there that says unlimited memory and the key insight. So I agree with you. Just anything, we have the ability to do anything. It's just how do you unlock those things? And being on the road and working at the same time it's a pretty unlimited source of inspiration. So
100%. And the big reason we left when we first left was to look deep down. We knew our passion. We just didn't know in what direction. And we left on the road to sort of rediscover ourselves as a married couple, as individuals, as a family, and we just found that about 2 weeks into the trip. So
wow, that was quick then, right? Jeez, and
it was extremely quick.
So you mentioned that it's your kids are probably the highest point when it comes down to seeing them through their eyes regarding the most these new emotional experiences, because for what you feel, you go wow, and then you see them gawping and going, okay, he gets it better than I do for this.
Just down to the little things like the birds, the lizard. Like we've seen the same type of lizard 1,000 times, and just the excitement on my youngest boy's face every time we see that type of lizard is just, it never gets old, ever.
Wow. So let's look at the opposite side. What's a couple moments in your mind where you've gone like, this is hard graft, I don't know what's going on, and I'm feeling pretty drained at the moment?
To be honest, mate, when you asked that question earlier, I struggled to think of anything, because there hasn't been. I mean, there's, like anything, you have your highs and lows. There has never been a point since we've traveled where I've gone, I don't want to do this, or it'd be nice to have a house, or anything like that. It's just there's none to put that. I mean, I would happily give someone else a wet pack up. The days that I've had to do where we're going to move destinations and it's pouring down rain and I've got to do the pack up. Still, it's all part of the adventure.
Okay. Yeah. Well, so what I was on the catamaran, they were mentioning about how you have to be careful with the toilet because it can block up as well. Is that something that you're planning your kids to take over at some point, or?
It's a little. I'm not sure of the toilet set up on a boat or a yacht. Yeah, no one likes to. I'm the only one that empties it so far.
Of course you are.
Yeah, yeah.
This episode of Off Grid Traveller is proudly sponsored by Dry Flush Toilets Australia, home of the world-famous Lavio Dry Flush Toilet. This patented electric toilet has no chemicals, is not a composting system, and can be set up literally anywhere in under 60 seconds. It looks and feels like an at-home toilet to use, but it can be used anywhere with no external power or water, and it still flushes. There's also no cartridge to clean or empty, and it's perfect for camping, caravans, converted vans, boats, tiny homes, or anything off-grid. Go to www.dryflush.com.au and use coupon code OFFGRID to get a 10% discount on your toilet order today.
Most of the places that we've stayed, because we like to do a lot of off-grid camping as well, but we also go to the actual caravan parks where there's amenities and pools and lots of other families for the boys to play. And we have a dog that we bring along with us as well. So,
love dogs.
So generally, when it comes to the toilet business, if it's not a number one, I try and get them to go to the amenities in the park. So.
Yeah, no, so and that's another one as well, is obviously having a dog on the road. I was watching some of your Instagram, and you know, that can be not a low point, but a problem is that you do then minimize some of the locations you can go to, right? And has that been a problem?
Not at all. We don't know any different. We've only ever traveled with our dog, so I'm sure there's a lot of other places we could go without him. And though they'd only be 20 minutes closer to a location that we want to go. So the big thing with having the dog on the road is knowing where you're going ahead of time. If there's places that you want to go visit, national parks, places where you can't take your dog, because we'll always stay at camps that are dog friendly or pet friendly. And if we want to go to a national park or see something that we can't have him at, we'll just organise either a dog sitter.
Yeah.
Or there's lots of little pet resorts around now. Like since COVID, there's so many more facilities for pets and travel within Australia. So it really hasn't stopped us from doing anything at all.
So, and when you're saying that there's so many facilities for dogs, like you legitimately, there's been no problem for you. Because you've got a dog, you don't look for places that can't take dogs. It's the same with me, because we're potentially planning on doing a road trip around South Korea, and we're already like focusing on the fact that we don't know how many places won't take dogs. So we're doing the research now. We're going to build out a list, and it does minimize, but then it actually opens up your creativity per se, because then you have to work around that, and it's family, right? Why would you ever leave someone out?
That's it. So yeah, it just, as long as you're organized ahead of time. And yes, there are times where something might pop up where you want to go do something. And most of the parks that we stay at, we'll ask the management there, hey, do you have any numbers of dog sitters? And most of them will come with 3 or 4 different phone numbers for you to call for that help. So yeah.
Wow.
Just being organized is the biggest thing. And again, there are days where something might pop up that you really want to go do and you can't. You just organize it for the next day, or you just call the numbers, call and see if you can get someone to watch him for that time you're out, or you just don't do it.
Well, and the thing is, like you said, you meet so many amazing people on the journey. I'm not saying you should trust every single person that you meet on the street, but what I've found is when I've been traveling is that I've built a faster connection with these individuals and a level of faith with them so much more quickly, because you are within that same group and you're like, look, you scratch my back, I scratch yours. And so I'm wondering if you've ever had that where you've been like, hey, we can look after your dog, and you're like, you know what? Yeah, no worries. Like keep an eye on him.
It makes sense exactly that. Yes, we've met those people. We meet those people everywhere, and we haven't had to ask them. We've had plenty of offers, which is fantastic. So, it's always really nice to hear, nice to know that they're there. So, and it's, I mean, you make connections so quick with people on the road because they're doing the same thing as you. Your values are aligned, and it's just that instant connection generally as well. So
yeah. So one thing that I found with the people on the catamaran as well is that they said that they were spending $1,000 more since they've been living back at home compared to when they were traveling. And so my question to you is, have you found it's been cheaper on the road, or has it been more expensive?
You know what? We're in a position where we don't need to budget.
Gotcha.
And we watch, like when we're living in a house, we watch our money, we save money, we do this, we do that. Where fortunately we've got a really successful business, and it's not something that we've had to closely monitor. And even before we set out, where we were watching money, we still weren't at the same time, because we didn't want to limit ourselves to not doing things because of a budget. The only thing we spend more money on now is fuel.
Yes, you do.
Towing the van around. So yeah, we got the big Nissan Patrol that is very thirsty, and we need it. So yeah,
it's like, okay, so even so, with the fact that you have the luxury per se to go out and travel and do what you want, which is the beauty of it, right? You literally living the dream on that aspect. If it came down to the bare minimum necessities, do you think you could do it for cheaper, or what do you think?
Oh, 100%. Yeah, definitely. I would say our living costs in general are less on the road.
Yeah, right.
Because you stay at the free camps and the low cost camps and things like that. We're only spending like $5 a night, and I know what rent in Australia is like at the moment, mortgages with the interest rates going up. So definitely that side of cost of living is a lot less for us. I would say groceries are very similar to what we'd spend usually. Yeah. So definitely, I would say all in all, it'd be a less on the road than living in a place. Living costs anyway. So
yeah. Sure. And so what do you think the likeliness is of like a large percentage of the Australian population ending up being travelers half the time? Because if cost of living is cheaper on the road, do you think that there could be a push where you end up getting maybe 1/3 of the population just continuously moving?
I hope so.
That'd be cool, right?
I really I think, I mean, each to their own. I would hope that somewhere down the line that everyone gets to experience this in some way, shape, or form, because it really is. This is a beautiful country that we have. There's so much to do and so much to see.
Yeah.
And when you get, and there's lots of nothing when you get to places as well, which is really special to see as well, if that makes sense. So
yeah. Well, you went on that trip recently, didn't you, to the middle of Aussie, and
to Uluru.
I saw some of the images, and I was like, a lot of nothing, and then something
huge
in the middle. But it's stunning, absolutely stunning,
beautiful. It is. We so my wife and I, we flew to Yalara, which is Ayers Rock, or Uluru, better known as. A lot of people would know Uluru or Ayers Rock. Uluru is the indigenous name for the big red rock, or the heart of Australia, it's called.
That's cool.
We did 3 nights there, just myself and my wife. It was kind of a little celebration for us, and my kids stayed with my parents. They had 3 nights with the grandparents, and I knew, this is the first time I'd been there, I knew how special the place was. I just did not know it would have that kind of effect on me of how special it was. There's so much of nothing there, and this is the ultimate paradox. There's so much of nothing in it. There's a lot of stuff there at the same time. So it's it just blows me away that the Aboriginals have lived there for 35,000 years. You look at it and like, how would they have survived?
That's a good question.
It's amazing. It really is. Yeah.
So is it because obviously they've got a hunt game there, or like?
Yeah, I mean, there's so much there without us knowing. They know it all. There's lots of different like bush tucker they call it. So, and yeah, I mean, even the animals are few and far between. So there's a lot of like birds and lizards and things like that they'd use and still do. They still practice a lot of their of everything that they have forever. So yeah.
No, it's just beautiful, and like anyone who would like to see more about it, you should definitely check out. It's the Heart-Led Wanderers, right? At
That's it,
Instagram,
yeah.
which is really cool. You guys have got like 4 different Instagrams. I was checking out, and they're all super inspirational.
Oh, thank you.
One thing I really liked was that it's not just one of those where it's like everything's amazing and everything's great. There's some videos in there where it's like Instagram photo with I think it was your missus and the kid, and then 5 seconds after the kid headbutts her accidentally, and I was just like, yeah, that's real life. And I think
look,
sorry, go on.
It's very easy to show the glamorous side of everything, and I mean that's the beauty of social media. You can do whatever you like on there, and we set out. It's my wife's personal page. She's she's amassed a great following or great audience, a beautiful little community that's followed her for a long time, and a lot of them jumped over when we started the new page, and just she's been from the start. She shows who she is, and that's how we are. There's no point of being any different. We are who we are. We'll show the good, bad, and ugly. So yeah.
But that's the beauty of it. I think like there's too much polish these days on social media, and and this is what causes people that feeling of doom scrolling. I think is that when they feel like, oh my gosh, how can my life be any better because all these people are already doing it? Why would I? But the fact of the matter is, it's those people that then show like the toilets exploded, or like it's absolutely hammering down with rain, and I've got to go put the camping in right now, and I'm going to show you what I'm doing and I'm going to show you my emotions right now. Those sort of beautiful things are what make, like, when I watch people and follow people, it's like, that makes me want to go out there, because I realize
it's relatable.
Exactly. It's real life. It's the fact of it. If you were walking around in a suit in the middle of nowhere and going like, this is it, and you've got a Lamborghini next to you, I'd probably be wondering how much you spent on that, and are you okay? Yes, there's probably something might not be right, and nothing against people that want to be like that. It's just, realism is far and few between sometimes, and having people who are on the road but also life coaching, it's a beautiful mix of realism and being the best version of yourself. And I think it's important that 100%. We remind that
100%. And then again, with the other pages, we share so much of our story, whether it's on the road or our past or what we're doing now, and that's just to show people that we've been to some pretty dark, low places, and me personally, and my wife, and that creating the life that you really want is absolutely achievable. You just have to want it, and that's what we wanted. So that's when we went after it. So
yeah. What would be the 3 biggest like pushes as a life coach and someone who's done it? What would be the 3 biggest pushes that you'd say for someone who feels like they're stuck in the mud right now and needs to just go out and travel or do something? What would you say is just those three big points, or even one?
If they're wanting to travel,
if
you're wanting to travel, like, step into it, like take that leap. Don't be scared. Yes, it can be scary. Lean into that fear, that awkwardness, because you'll never regret it. If you travel and you get out for a month and you're like, oh, okay, this isn't for me, you're never going to regret not doing it.
Wow.
At least you have to go.
You're never going to regret how long
you're going to regret not doing it.
Fact.
So if you go, you like get out even if you go for 2 weeks, you might find out and just like, oh, no, this isn't for me. You're never going to go, oh, that was. You got to be thankful that you did it for yourself. That, and everything comes back to self. So if you're scared or worried or have these limiting beliefs about yourself and that you can't do stuff, start that self-development and self-work on yourself, because everything starts with self. It all comes back to self. Once you clear whatever it is in you that's holding you back, nothing's going to stop you after that. So
it's the go and find yourself, because if you're doing the same thing every single day, it's hard to look in the mirror sometimes and see where you've gone and what you need to do. And I think it's important as well for people to realize that it's okay to feel stuck at the moment. It's okay to be in a mess sometimes. It's okay.
Yep.
All of us go through it. Like, I've hit rock bottom at points, and it's just how you then deal with it afterwards, and putting good people around you who can say, hey, we're here for you and you're not alone. Like you said, depression, it can take you, man. It can take you very weird places.
Mate. And I've lost friends to their inner demons. And I mean, there's so many great outlets now and I speak into men because that's my area. And though I have female clients too, there's so many great outlets now for men to speak up and seek advice and seek help. It's just, again, it's like it's built into our DNA almost, that societal way of men, don't speak. So, and the fact that it's a big thing that I preach to is everyone still talks of the stigma around men's health or men's mental health. There's only a stigma because everyone keeps on saying there's a stigma. So a big thing that I do is if someone reaches out, I celebrate them. And make sure that they know that they've just taken the first step to change their life. And that pulls into, traveling as well. If you do that 2 weeks, you do a month, congratulations. If you do a day, you go somewhere for a day and you've never done that before, congratulations as well. Celebrate your wins. Celebrate your little wins. Doesn't matter how big or small they are, celebrate them. Don't hold them in. Let everyone know. Let yourself know. If you have a little win, have a beer.
Celebrate. A beer. Yeah. In Korea, they call it mekju, and they have this really cool thing. I don't know if you've ever had it, but it's chicken and beer together, but it's fried chicken, mate. It's probably the best thing you'll ever try. So make sure when you head down this way in your motorhome, we'll go for mekju and beer, but just make sure you don't drive afterwards because you might get in trouble.
Right. I have they do something similar here on the barbecue, where they have the can of beer and they sit the chicken over the top of the can and roast it.
Oh yeah, I've seen that before.
I haven't tried it myself, and though might give it a crack on the Weber.
That sounds good, but to me it just sounds like a waste of beer. But that's just because I drink the beer.
Definitely.
And just because a lot of people always want to know these sort of things as well, is what are the 3 biggest tech items that are essential for you on the road when you're traveling?
For running the business? Just in general?
In general, I'd say for traveling and living. So let's just say travel. Let's say travel.
Travel. Okay, so with kids, having internet is great.
Yeah. Because
you can, especially in Australia, you can hit sections or areas where you'll get rain 3-4 weeks in, and it's difficult. It's not impossible. It's difficult to find things to do every day when it's raining. So having that the Wi-Fi for them to just have a little bit of another outlet. I mean, they can only play in the rain so much.
Yeah.
The air fryer.
Oh,
air fryer is a must-have for us for your quick fixes and quick dinners. For the travel for me, because we do like off-grid, I've got a complete lithium setup in the van with all my solar and stuff. So we've got about 1,200 watt of solar on the roof, and then I've got 600 amps of Enerdrive battery and a 2,000 watt inverter and everything. Wow. So we don't need to plug into power anywhere we go. So we can even in the heat, I can run the air conditioning overnight with batteries dropping down to maybe 30. Yeah.
Wow.
if you're really wanting to do it and living full time in it, something set up like that is definitely something to look into.
So so then how long do you think you could stay off grid before you'd be turning back to civilization?
It'd be water that stops us. So we'd probably get, I mean, we could have endless amounts of drinking water. You can purchase that. So water tanks, we've got about 200 litres, and I carry a 150-litre bladder. So depending on how close the water supply is, I can do a quick trip, fill up the bladder and fill tanks up, things like that. So we can push it, especially if we're near the ocean and the boys are swimming and not needing a shower every night. We can probably push the water tanks to about 5 days.
Wow. Okay, cool. But then there's like, obviously, because you've got the internet, you're able to always check where there is a water source, where is the next location need. And I'm guessing, has there been any times when you've been a little bit further and your internet's dropped out, or have you had no problem?
We've been pretty well covered in that sense. We carry a few different devices with us. There's a little modem that we carry around from Telstra, who's one of the main suppliers here in Australia. And there's a great company called Out There Internet.
Okay.
And they've developed their product that runs off a Telstra SIM or any one of the company's SIMs. We use Telstra because we generally haven't had an issue and needed any other. And they actually developed this product traveling around Australia themselves and tested it on a lap of Australia. So we use that, and that's what I'm running off now. There hasn't been an issue with the upload speed. So
no kicks at all, has it really? Yeah. It's like this is the beauty. Like, we are talking and you are on the road right now, and I really want to like get this into people's mind. We are in the future. This is the future. Like the only thing that's going to be changing soon is that you'll probably end up having a solar paneled van at some point when that becomes like a fully fledged thing, and then they'll be off grid. They won't ever come back. It's just
as long as there's a bit of water around, we'll be good to go. So
I'm sure there'll be a way to pull out all the moisture from the air around you. And put
there'll
it
be something.
in.
Yeah,
So
there'll be something.
watch this space, guys. The very second we hear about that, we'll be talking about it, and I'm sure Dane will be one of the first to go through it. So we'll be asking him about it. But mate, is there any just any last comments or any things that you would recommend for people if they're looking to travel or looking to start a business but be on the road and remote? Anything that you just want to share?
Just if it's something that you really want to do it. Don't let it's, I mean, there's so many inspirational quotes and things that you can say and do. If you never try it, you'll never know. If you don't ask, the answer's always no.
Yeah.
So just do it. Yeah.
Nike, just do it, man. Like it's actually I stick by that.
That is the greatest the greatest phrase of all time is just do it. It literally is. So there's no failure, only lessons. Yeah. That's my biggest one. So you can set off and you can be worried about not failing. Don't treat it as a failure, treat it as a lesson. And you go, okay, what have I learned from this? So
exactly. No, I love it. I love it. And what are your Instagram, Facebook channels? Any that you'd want to push forward?
Love to. Always want to give it a plug, mate. So our travel page is Heart-Led Wanderers. That's the family travel page. My wife's page is Dane Muller, NaDineMuller, and that's her main one. And then my coaching page or the men's group page is Heart-Led_Warriors.
Yes,
that's Instagram, Facebook, websites, all of it. And we have a free Facebook group. We both have one, Rise by Dane Muller, and that's a free Facebook group for women. I think Nadine's got around 5,000 members in there, and it's just women who can share and give advice. And there's 5 highly qualified coaches in there to help answer questions and advice and everything like that as well. And on the men's side, we have Heart-Led Men. And again, this is a tiptoe or a fingertip into men's work where you can post anonymously, ask questions, where again, we've got 4 really highly skilled coaches in there, myself included. We do free Q&As every Wednesday night. So if you've got a question and you want to hear 2 coaches chat about men's work and things that we can do, topics, that's all in there. So yeah.
See, and that's the awesome thing is, what Nadine is doing is incredible, and what you're doing as well for the male side, which again, as you mentioned, it's a lot quieter, but the fact is, it's because we don't talk about it, and we need to have an area where we can talk about it. And it's growing. It will grow.
That's it. That's one thing that the women are definitely doing better than us at the moment, and that is self-development and letting their feelings be heard and talking about it. So I will say that when the men are ready, they definitely knock on the door, and it's fantastic. So yeah.
And when we do open the door, it's probably too many emotions at first. I've been there myself.
Never too many. It's never too many.
Yeah. No, I respect that. It's just I've definitely opened doors before, and I've gone, oh, that was a bit much for me personally. Do you know what I mean? But then you've got these people around you who want you to share that. So
yes, and that's a great point that you just put up. Maybe I wasn't ready for that. If your unconscious mind didn't want you to say it, you wouldn't have said it. So there's a reason, and there's timing and reasons for everything. And just trust your judgment. When it's time, you'll know. Yeah. Everyone has their own gestation period.
Exactly. Guys, welcome and thank you so much for coming to the Off-Grid Traveler. We've had the awesome Dane with us, telling us some life lessons, life coaching, and everything good in between, all the way from his van on the road. And I'm sure we'll be seeing some really cool things in the future. Cheers, guys.
If you or someone you know would be an interesting guest on the show, we'd love to hear from you. We love speaking to everyday people who've taken to the open road or open seas for an extended period of time, or anyone that's set up their life in an off-grid location. Please email guest@offgridtraveller.com.au to get in touch. That's 2 L's in Traveller.